Hello student, welcome to my class. Today I am going to take class 12 geography. The book name is India, People and Economy. It is chapter 2 and the name of the chapter is Migration, Type, Causes and Consequences. So let's proceed with this chapter. So in this chapter you are basically going to read about migration and related issue. As you know, migration play important role in rearranging, redistributing and reorganizing the population in different places from time to time. And India has witnessed so much of migration. Many people from India went to outside and many people from outside came to India. So India is witnessing migration from long time. From India, in India also many people from outside country came and settled down in India. For example, people from Central and Western Asia, Southeastern Asia, they came from those countries and settled down in India. Same way, many Indians also went to different countries and settled there. For example, many Indians went to Middle East, they went to North Europe, America, Australia, East and Southeast Asia to settle down there. So India is facing migration from long time. So there are two types of migration according to 2001 census, but in 1881 when the first time census was conducted, the importance was given to only the first type of migration, and that is the migration of place of birth. Then in 1961 when the census was conducted, the two components were given important. One was the place of birth, means your birth village, the birth town, etc. And the second component was which was given important is your duration of residence. If you are born somewhere and settling in somewhere else, then from how much long time you are settling in this residence area, in this place. That information was also collected in 1961 data. When in 1971 the census was conducted, the place of last residence and the duration of the stay of the place of enumeration was given important. Means what was your place of last residence, where were you staying before this place, and from how long you are staying in this area, both were given important in 1971 census. Then in 1981 when the data was collected, the census was conducted, they used to ask the reasons for the migration. If somebody has migrated from one place to another, the reasons for migration were being collected by the data collectors. Alright. Then finally in 2001 when the census was conducted, the migration, two types of migration was given important. One is the place of birth migration and another one was place of residence migration. So what is the difference between place of birth migration and place of last residence migration? So this was given in 2001. According to the place of birth, what happens, suppose if you are born in place A but you are working and residing in place B. So at the time of enumeration, you will be counted at the place B only, not in the place A where you were born, because now you are residing in place B. So your enumeration will be taken from the place B only. And such type of enumeration or such type of migration is actually called migration of place of birth, or it is also called lifetime migrant. And in the place of last residence, what happens? Suppose if you are residing in place B, you are working in place B, but at the time of enumeration, when the enumeration was going on, that time you were not in the place B, you went to place C for some reason. So your data will be collected at the place C only, you will be counted at the place C only. And in this case, the migration which is happening is called the place of last residence migration. So this was the two types of migration which was given important in 2001 data. So 30% of the total migration which is happening in India, the 30% comes under the place of birth migration, in which we include 307 million people. And of the total migration, 31% migration is for the place of last residence. So 31% migration of the total migration of India was because of the place of last residence, which include 315 million people of India. So what is happening in the place of birth? The place of birth is different from the place of enumeration, and in the place of last residence, the place of last residence is different from place of enumeration. So this were the two types of migration which was taken into account in 2001 census data. Now the two questions, whenever it comes to collect the data for the migration or for the population, migration related two things they used to ask. One question is like, what is your place of born, means birth, where you were born. If you are born in the same place where the enumeration is going on, then no problem. But if you are born somewhere else in the country, then they will take the information of your birthplace, that is what is the town, what is the district, what is the state in which you are born. If you are Indian, you will give this information. If you are not Indian, means some outsider has come, some foreigner has come, then they cannot take the state, district or town information. They will just collect the information about from which country have you come. The second question they used to ask is from how much time are you residing in this place? Are you staying? Are you actually original people of this place, or you have come from outside place? If you have come from outside place, then what is your previous place? If you are residing in this place, you are staying in this place, it is your birthplace, then no problem. But if you are residing in this place, then they will ask, what is your previous place, where you used to reside before this place. Then that place information also they will collect. Means you have come from which place, what is the town name, the district name or the state name. So if you are Indian, you will give this information. If you are foreigner, then you will give the country name from which you have come to India. So this two information is answered in the related to migration by the people in during the census. Now let us discuss the stream of migration. There are two streams of migration. Means migration is basically of two types. One is internal or domestic migration. Another one is international migration. So in the internal migration it is actually the migration within the country. Alright. So in country also, from one place you go and settle in another place. And in this internal or domestic migration, we have actually four types of migration. One is rural to rural, in which from one village you go and settle in another village. Urban to rural, sometimes what happens, from the cities the people go and settle down in the village, especially after retirement. And another type of migration can be urban to urban, means from one city you leave that city and go to another city for job purpose, or you go from a small city to a big city. So this can be urban to urban also, from one city to another city. And it can be also rural to urban, from villages to the city. And this is very common in India. Many people are migrating from rural to urban for job purpose. And in this internal or domestic migration, mostly the women who are migrating, they are migrating for marriage purpose. Because in India, it is the culture that after the marriage, the girls have to go to the boys' house to stay there. So mostly the women are migrating for the marriage purpose, and it is mostly the short distance migration. Means mostly they are married in a nearby places. And this migration, this women's migration of marriage is mostly from rural to rural area, means from one village to another village, or it can be urban to urban, from one city to another city, or it can be from rural to urban, from village to a city place. And in the boys case, in the male population case, the migration is taking place only and mostly because of work. Very less time the migration take place for other reason for the boys population. Mostly the boys population migrate for work, and they mostly migrate from rural to urban or from urban to urban. Mostly they goes to the cities. From the village they go to the city, or from one city they go to another city for job purpose. And this migration, whatever the migration is taking place, it can be interstate or the intrastate. Interstate means within the state, interstate means from one state to another state. You are leaving one state and then going to the another state for job purpose or any other purpose. And in the intrastate, what is happening? Within a state, from one city of the same state, you are going to the another city of the same state. For example, if you are in Rajasthan, you are going from Jaipur to the Kota, or from Kota to Jaisalmer, or from Jaisalmer to Jodhpur. So that is called intrastate migration. Means in the same state you are migrating from one city to another city. The second stream of migration, one is internal and domestic, the second one is international migration. What is international migration? In this migration, what is happening? The people are migrating from one country to another country. So if somebody is going outside from our country, no, that is called emigration. E, it starts with E. And if somebody is coming in our country and settling down in our country, then it is called immigration. Immigration, that start with I. Alright, so there are two types of migration under international migration. One is emigration and one is immigration. Alright, so 5 million people from outside India has came to our country and settled down in India. And of this 5 million people, 96% were from our neighboring country only. For example, from Bangladesh 3 million people, from Pakistan 0.9 million people, and from Nepal 0.5 million people came and settled down in India. Also from Afghanistan, Iran, Myanmar, Tibet and Sri Lanka, many people came and settled in India. Same way from India also 20 million people went to another countries and settled down in those countries. And this is when the Indians goes and settle down in India, in other country, that is called Indians diaspora. The Indians diaspora is across 110 countries. Means people of India have gone to 110 countries and settled down there. So let us read about India's diaspora. So India's diaspora means how Indians are going and settling down in another countries. It is actually divided into three phases. The first phase is actually related to the British rule time. Alright, in that time, many Indians people were sent to Mauritius, in the Caribbean countries, in the South African countries, in Fiji and other countries. And it was done by Britishers. And mostly the people of UP, Bihar were sent there. And also the Dutch and Portuguese forced the people from the Goa to settle down in another countries. The French also did like this. They sent Indians to other countries. And whenever they used to send the Indians from to another countries, it used to come under the time bound contract. With the time bound contract, they used to send Indians to other country. This was also called a Girmit Act or Indian Immigration Act. And why they were sent to another country? They were sent as a plantation worker. They used to work like in the plantation owner field, and they were treated like a slave there. They cannot go anywhere. They have to work free of cost, and they have to work for a long time. So they were treated like a slave in those countries. So that was the first phase of India's diaspora. Now we will see the second phase of India's diaspora, which started in 1970. And at this time, the people mostly went to Southeast Asian countries like Malaysia, Thailand, Singapore, Cambodia, etc. So in these places, Indian went, and at that time, mostly the skilled and unskilled laborers were transported. Earlier in the first place, only the unskilled labor went. But now the skilled or the semi-skilled laborers were allowed to go. Mostly the artisan, the traders, the factory workers, professional workers, etc. They went to these countries for their job purpose. Then there comes the third phase of India's diaspora, and it started in 1980. And at this time, mostly the people went to USA, Canada, UK, Australia and various other advanced countries. And here now only the skilled labor is going in those countries. For example, the doctors, the engineers, the financial experts. So all the professionals are going to this advanced country. So in the first phase, unskilled labor went. In the second phase, skilled and semi-skilled went. And now in the third phase, only the skilled laborers are going. It is also called knowledge-based Indian immigration. This is called knowledge-based Indian immigration. So Indian diaspora means how the Indians have went and settled down in different countries. This diaspora of India is actually very powerful, and it is playing a very important role in the development of those advanced countries. Those advanced countries are taking use of our skilled Indians labor, and they are developing their country. So our Indians diaspora is playing an important role in the development of those countries. Now let us see the spatial variation in migration. Means in every state you don't have the same type of migration. There are some states like Maharashtra, Delhi, Gujarat and Haryana where you can see lot of in-migrate, means many people are coming and settling in this state. Whereas the UP, Bihar type of state is facing out migration, where the people are moving away from UP and Bihar for different purpose. Same way in the intrastate migration. In the intrastate migration, what happened? The people are migrating from one in the same state from one city. You are one city of a same state. You are migrating to the another city of that state, or from one place of that same state you are migrating to the another place of the same state. So in Maharashtra, if you see, no, the Greater Mumbai is the area where you can see lot of emigration. Lot of people from the different part of Maharashtra is going and settling down in Greater Mumbai. So in this is one of the example of intrastate migration. So this type of migration is going on in India also, and there are two reasons for migration. One can be pull factor and another one can be push factor. So what is pull factor and push factor? We will discuss now. So what is push factor? Push means, you know what, pushing each other means you are forcing somebody to go from that place. So in the push factor, where this push factor arises? In the place of origin. Definitely people don't want to leave their place of birth or place of origin, but sometimes they are forced, they are pushed out from that place because of some reasons, because of some forces, because of some factors. They don't wanted to leave that place, but some factors become so powerful that they are pushed out of that place. For example, if the poverty is there, or the high population is there in that place, or the other factors like lack of facilities, you don't have the opportunities, there are so much of war or epidemics, some epidemics has come, or some natural disaster is coming in that place, or political disturbance is there in that place. So all these factors are making impossible for the person to stay there, and for better job, better opportunity, or for better other facilities or reasons, the person is forced or pushed out of that place, and that is called your push factor, which make the place of origin unattractive. Whereas in the pull factor, what is happening? The place is attracting people from different places. Why they are attracting? Because that place have better opportunities, better facilities, employments, higher wages for its same job, and they are having the stability, better environment, better entertainment and other factors. So what is happening in the pull factor? The place of destination is becoming very attractive and attracting the people from those places where the facilities are or the opportunities are not good. So there are two factors. The push factor pushes the people out from that place, and the pull factor attract the people from other places, and because of this push and pull factor, the migration is going on in our country and in other countries also. This is the main reason for migration. So in India, there are various reasons for migration. Mostly the male population, the boys population, they migrate for work, for job, employment, alright. And 38% migration of male is because of job, and 2% sometimes male also migrate for marriage also. In some state, like in Meghalaya, when the marriage happen, mostly the boys goes and settle in the girl's family. But in the female case, the most of the migration is happening for the marriage only. Because in India, we have the culture, when the marriage happen, the girls go and settle down in boys' family. So in India, most of the female migration is happening, 65% of female migration is happening for marriage, and 3% sometimes they migrate also for work. So for whatever reason the migration is taking places, there are some consequences of migration also, and this migration consequences can be positive or it can be negative also. Because what is happening in this migration is taking place. Why it is taking place? Because you are moving from low opportunity area to an area which have high opportunity. So migration have its positive effect and negative effect. Let us analyze the consequences of migration. So first let us analyze the economic consequences. It can be positive, it can be negative as well. Why it is positive? Suppose if the people are going from our country and working in another country, then they will send their salary in our country. They will send their remittance in our country to their families. To the family members, they will send their salary. So what is happening when the people are going outside of our country, going to America or Europe or any other country, then what they are sending the money. They are sending money to their family members. And in this way, we get foreign exchange for growth and development. Same way, suppose in India itself, in country itself, if you are going from rural area to the urban area for work, then what you are doing? You are working in urban area, you are earning some salary and sending it to the village area. So what is happening? The village is also getting some income, some money. So this way the money or the salary also come in the place of origin. So this can be one advantage. But one disadvantage is also there. Of course, they are getting salary and they are sending that salary to the place of origin or the place of birth. But sometime what happen? Their remittance or the salary they are getting is much lesser than the work they are doing there. They are bringing much more development in the place of destination, but they are not paid that much money, and only because they have no other alternative, they are forced to work in that place. So sometimes the money which they are getting in that place is not equal to the work they are giving in that area, and it does not equals the development they are bringing in that area. So this can be a negative consequences of economic. Now we will see the another consequences of migration, and that is your demographic consequences. So what is demographic consequences? Demographic means population. The population structure changes when the migration takes place, because this migration disturbs the age structure, it disturbs the sex structure. How it disturbs? Because it disturbs the age structure, because mostly the young people are migrating from the place of origin to the place of destination. So what is happening? In the place of origin, the young population is decreasing, and in the place of destination, the young population is increasing. So age structure of both the places, of the place of origin and the place of destination, is getting disturbed because of this migration. It also disturbs the sex migration, because in India, most of the migration is done by the male population for job. So what the male is doing, they are migrating from rural area to the urban area. So in rural area, the population of man is decreasing, and in the urban area, the population of male is increasing in that area. So age structure and the sex structure is getting disturbed in both the places, in the place of birth and in the place of destination. Also, we have some environmental consequences. What is environmental consequences because of migration? So see, suppose many people has come to a city for job and other purpose, then what happened in that place where all the people has come for some opportunities, the place population increase a lot and it become overcrowded and congested. Lot of pressures are put on the infrastructure and resources of that place. And also the slum area develop because they don't have the houses to give to all those people, migrant people. Pollution problem also comes because the cheap labors are available, so more industries are found in that area, and that lead to pollution. And so many other environmental problem is faced due to migration. Now let us analyze the another important consequences of migration, and that is your social consequences. It can also be positive, it can also be negative. What is the positive consequences of migration? See, so if somebody from other place is coming and settling in a different place, then what happens? The culture of both the places, both the people get diffused, and a new culture is found. Like suppose some Bengalis are coming and settling in Maharashtra, so they will bring the Bengali culture in Maharashtra. So Bengali culture and Maharashtra culture both will combine and make a new culture in that place. So actually this migration is creating a composite culture in a place. It also widening, it is making us broad minded. We are coming across the different ideas, the different technologies, the different viewpoints. When you meet different people, you learn different things. So it broaden your mind also. All right. So this way the new ideas, new technologies, new viewpoints comes in your mind and you become broad minded. So all these are the positive consequences. But it also have some negative consequences as well. For example, the people who are coming from outside places, no, they are sometimes discriminated. They are not given the equal opportunity. It creates loneliness. It creates social vacuum in their mind. All right. Sometimes they are dejected, not accepted, and such type of mentality actually force the migrant people to take a wrong path. They can go for drugs. They can go for crime if such dejections they faces. So this is also one of the negative consequences of migration. Another consequences are some other consequences also we have in migration, like when the migration take place of man, when men are migrated for job, so extra burden comes on the women. They are mentally and physically overburdened, and that create problem for them. And sometime when the women are migrated for job or education or other purpose, their safety become vulnerable. So people are worried about the safety of women when they are migrated. Also, when the migration of a brain take place in the advanced country, what is happening in migration? Mostly the educated people, the brainy people are going to the advanced place. From underdeveloped place, they are going to the advanced place for job and other facility. So what is happening? The advanced place is developing, whereas the underdeveloped place is remaining the underdeveloped only. So there can be some good effect and some bad effect of migration. And migration is still happening and rearranging and redistributing the population from time to time in different places. So this is all about migration. I hope you understand the migration chapter. Please like, share and subscribe MP Social View if you understand this chapter. Thank you students. Thanks for watching and happy learning.